Hello and welcome to WhatCulture Wrestler. Myself, Andrew Pollard. I hope you're well. I hope you're good. I hope you're having a great week as things are going on. As you can see, I have a very, very special guest here joining me today. Donovan Dijak, the big man. Dijak, how are you doing?
I am doing fantastic. How are you?
Yep, I'm doing good, man. I'm sat here tuning up with you on this lovely evening. What more can I ask for from life? And the main point of this, obviously, there's a whole lot to talk about with your career so far. But the main reason for this particular interview is that you have a big event coming up in March the 8th and 9th, the weekend, the Burning Heart Pro Wrestling, the tournament weekend. The first day, the Saturday in Liverpool, the second day in Manchester. Tickets available now, I should probably say as well, at Ticketline, or just go to the burningheartprowrestling.com and navigate your way from there. There's some big names in there, though. There's obviously yourself, grizzled young veterans, of course, Trent Seven, Mark Andrews, Flash Morgan Webster, Danny Luna. That's just a couple of, a few of the people. But yeah, you looking forward to coming back over to the UK? I mean, you've been in Ireland recently, I saw as well. You're a busy dude these days.
Yes. It's a lot of hopping back and forth, which I'm totally fine with. I like the coming back a lot more than the going over. When I come back, I get my whole day, right? I can leave at 10 a.m., land at 1 p.m., and I'm like, oh, that was not so bad, even though I was on a plane for 7 hours. It's always great coming over, especially for really high caliber quality promotions like Burning Heart. You look at the roster, you named half of it, and it's just, really, really excellent level of a professional wrestler. And that's what you love to see on a pro wrestling card. It's just people that you are going to deliver, it's going to be competitive. I'm very much looking forward to it.
Yeah, I should probably add as well, this is a tournament to crown the inaugural Burning Heart World Champion. Now, the rest of the entrants, we do have Mark Haskins, Trent Seven, Kid Lycos, Kenny Williams, Luke Jacobs, and Ethan Allen. And then there's yourself against Robbie X in the quarterfinals. I should probably add as well, quarterfinals done on the Saturday, the semifinals and the final done on the Sunday in Manchester. You already have a win over Robbie X last year, so you're looking to smash his face in again?
Always. Yeah, that was the first time that he and I had wrestled. I was so happy to be able to have that opportunity. He's so tremendous, and he's building momentum. He has a lot more momentum since the first time that we wrestled. Now he's a roster member of New Japan. I think he's in the Bullet Club. So yeah, he's trending in an upward trajectory. So I'm very much looking forward to seeing this new version and getting a crack at him. So yeah, it should be a tremendous matchup. He's just wonderful to work with, an exceptional talent. I don't have enough nice things to say about him. So yeah, it should be a wonderful matchup and a wonderful event.
Yeah. Also, as part of the weekend, you are running some seminars. Well, it was supposed to be one at the Future Shock Performance Center, and then that sold out straight away. So then it's like, right, let's get the big man in for a second one. What can people expect who might be looking to go to those seminars, and how is it like for you to now be in that position where you're giving back to the industry? Giving tips and pointers to the next generation.
Yeah. So my seminars are very, very hands-on. I'm the kind of person who, and really this has a lot to do with how I came up in the pro wrestling industry, right? So when I first started in 2012, I wanted as much knowledge as I could possibly get, and there wasn't a lot of like online sort of resources, right? You didn't. Like this sort of thing existed, but it was difficult to access, and not a lot of pro wrestlers had that sort of access, which is kind of one of the fundamental reasons why I designed the Dijak Wrestling Academy online platform and school, which is dijakwrestling.com. And it's all of this sort of, interactive feedback sort of stuff. But one of the reasons that I decided to move forward with that is because I didn't have those options when I was coming up. I only had seminars, right? So I went to every seminar you could possibly think of, especially if it was within driving distance. I would go all over the place. I went as far as Missouri for a seminar, as far as Florida for seminars. And the reality of a pro wrestling seminar is that about half the time, it's just a complete waste of money and time. It's just guys sitting around and just yapping about nonsense, and just nothing gets accomplished, right? Then the other half of the time is you get just way more than you bargained for, right? So it ends up being kind of a gamble. I want people who, when they go to my seminar, they go, oh no, I got way more than my money's worth, right? Like I'll always go long, right? Whatever it's planned for, I'll end up going a half hour longer than that, just because I yap and I talk too much. But the second it starts, we're going to be in ring. We're going to be doing drills, fundamental stuff. I can get so much about a professional wrestler just by watching them wrestle for 20 seconds, if not less, right? I can see what needs work, what's good, what's bad, and I can give people real-time feedback. And I think that's what's the most helpful for people, is when you can see them and then you can assess them. And that's what I want to bring to all my seminars. That's what I want to bring to all my online classes, my webinars at dijakwrestling.com. It's just always my format. It's how my brain works. I can't just watch pro wrestling and enjoy it as a fan anymore. I have to break things down from a technical aspect and from an overarching sort of standpoint. It's just the way that my mind works. It's the way my mind works about my own matches. It's the way my mind works about watching other professional wrestling. So that's what you can expect, and that's what you can get from me. And it's probably gonna stay that way for a long time. Hopefully, knock on wood.
I have to ask that in that case, the Dijak era 2025, maybe not so much in terms of ring work, but what advice would you give to the Dijak starting out in like 2012, 2013, those early days? What advice would you give to yourself back then?
Man, that's a great question. What advice would I give to myself?
See, you said you'd be no questions that you've not heard. I like to think that's a relatively mildly fresh one there.
Well, yeah. Now that I'm talking about it, I have been asked this question before, so I do have a bit of an answer. But I haven't been asked it much. I will say that. The advice I would give to my younger self would be don't be in such a rush. Don't be in such a rush, right? I felt when I started in 2012, I was 25 years old, and I looked and surveyed the landscape and I said, oh, I'm a little old for this, right? Because that's the reality of the situation. I wanted to be in WWE. My goal was WWE. And I knew that to get to WWE, you needed to go through FCW, which was transitioning into NXT at the time. So I would look at the FCW webpage, and it would be a 18-year-old, 19-year-old, 20-year-old, 21-year-old who had 4 years experience already. And I said, uh-oh, I'm 25 and I have zero experience. So like, I need to get the ball rolling on this if I want to, so I set goals for myself. And yes, it's good to have those goals. And yes, that helped me achieve. But at the end of the day, I think I was in a little bit too much of a rush. And I think I was too worried about what was next at every single point of my career to instead take a step back and say, what might be better for me long-term, right? And I'm not talking about development in ring, because I developed in ring, about exactly where I wanted to. And I'm still developing in ring exactly where I want to. I never, every seminar I do, every time I'm giving myself mental reps. I talk about things, and when I'm in a seminar, I will say this so often, it's funny. I'll say it out loud to the students or the other wrestlers taking the seminar. I'll say, I'm talking to myself right now as much as I'm talking to you, because I make this mistake all the time, right? Because it's a constant state of self-assessment. How do I get better? How do I make them better? How do I make myself better, right? Because that's the goal, is to make everybody better. So not from that standpoint, but from a business, political, career sort of standpoint, career development standpoint, I think there were multiple points in my career where I could have taken a step back and said, let me stay at this level, accomplish more at this level, so that my stock increases for when I move on from this. I don't think I did. And that's a reason why you look back at my career, which has been 13 years now, and there's not a long list of championships, right? Because I haven't been places long enough to accumulate championships. I just continuously move on in a different direction. Even my first stint in NXT, I wasn't there long enough to have a long time, and then it moved on to Raw, and then from Raw I was back down to NXT. So I've never stayed put. And again, a lot of that WWE time was, I didn't choose that or anything like that. That's just the way that it worked out. But even before that, right, I think I could have benefited from staying put a little bit longer in situations where I felt like I needed to continuously move on. That's the advice I would give myself.
Yeah. I'd have to ask again, because you are coming over to Liverpool and to Manchester. Mm-hmm. What is the thing you hate the most about the UK? So you get here and it's like, oh man, this stuff. And also, what is the thing you like the most? So what you're not too keen on, and what you're keen on?
The thing I hate the most is the food. I don't, I don't like the food. It's just not. Which for the record, I do love Nando's. So I find a Nando's whenever I can. But then it like, you know what? I'm not even going to say the food, because it's really not the food per se. It's the fact that I can't get a rental car and drive myself, which I've thought about, by the way. And legally, I'm not sure. I think legally I can if I choose to. I don't feel comfortable driving on the other side of the road and in the other side of the car. I don't even know which side the gas pedal's on. I would for sure mess something up and crash. So I'm not going to risk it, even though I've considered risking it. But that's my biggest issue, is that I'm not in control of where I can go. And ultimately that determines where I end up eating. And then I end up getting food I don't want. Right. So yeah, that's kind of my biggest gripe and my biggest issue. But yeah, you know, I'll live. Right. I'm stuck in my own ways. Right. I've been on the road for so long, and it's like, boom, rental car, boom, I'm going to Taco Bell, I'm going here. You know, I have my places that I like, and so I'm in control. I get to decide, and just giving up a little bit of that driving control is just so difficult to me. But you know, is what it is. My favorite part. What's my favorite part? I mean, aside from like the wrestling crowds and the wrestling, I'm trying to think of something not wrestling, right? Because I love
Nando's. Go with Nando's. You've said Nando's.
Nando's, perfect. Nando's is for sure. Yeah,
it is, man. It's these crazy wrestlers coming over. We interviewed Ricky Starks last year, and Starks just went off about Nando's being like the greatest thing. It's like, it
really is. There's not a comparable. There's not a comparable United States type establishment. Like, it just doesn't exist, which is kind of weird. Like, you'd think it would. It's a fairly popular sort of item, you know, chicken in that state. But for whatever reason, yeah, I'd be surprised if Nando's doesn't fit, because there's like one or two in the United States, but it should multiply. In my opinion.
And probably just say this interview is not brought to you by Nando's. We have no sponsorship. Other chicken outlets are available. Yeah, I mean, I will take it.
I'll change I'll wear a Nando's shirt. I don't care. I'll take it.
Back to wrestling. If people have not been able to keep up with you since WWE, I mean, you've had some banger matches, man, since then. But one that stands out for me, Mike Santana, House of Glory. That was a great match for the couple with Gabe Kidd, the Speedball, Riddle, obviously Anthony Green, Timothy Thatcher, Filthy Tom, of course, recently Kenta, even Michael Oku. There's a bunch. But if you would say to somebody who's not been able to keep up with you since leaving WWE, here's one match to go and watch, which one would it be?
Oh, that's a great question. Jake something pops to mind.
Yeah.
We've had two great ones, me and Jake. Man, it's tough, because I think my favorite match is the one that you mentioned between me and Anthony Green. The problem with that match is it's at Fet Music, which used to be like my stomping grounds of Beyond Wrestling. I had so many good matches at Fet Music. The problem is that Beyond left there for like 2 or 3 years, and then that was the first show back, and it didn't draw well at all. So we had this incredible like 30-minute match in front of like maybe 60 or 70 people who were all like excited to be there, but just when you don't have a big crowd, it takes something out of the you know, the venom of a professional wrestling match. Like the best match my favorite match that I've ever watched is The Rock versus Hulk Hogan from WrestleMania 18. Picture that match in front of 60 people. It is no longer the best match you've ever seen. In fact, it's probably like, I'm not going to say, you all know what I'm going to say. I'm not going to say. It's no longer the best match in professional wrestling history. It drops a reasonable amount after that, because the fans are so important to pro wrestling. So on paper and if you could like pretend that there's like 30,000 fans watching me and Anthony Green, that's probably one of, if not the best matches of my entire career. The unfortunate reality is there weren't a lot of people there to see it, but you can watch it for free online if you so choose. Maybe turn the volume down and just pretend that there's huge reactions for everything if you really want to.
Maybe turn the volume down and put on that soundtrack for WrestleMania 18 in your head.
If I had to pick like a match, probably me and Jake something. Probably, I don't know which one because they're both so good. Or me and Calvin Tankman's another really good one. God, me and Tom Lawler just had a great match from MLW. That's probably my favorite MLW match that we've had. There's a lot, right? There's a lot, which is always like, because I see a lot of the comments, and social media comments have, they only affect me so much, right? I'm a person who lived through Retribution, so how much can you phase me with social media commentary? I do see a lot of, oh, this guy's done nothing since he left WWE, and that to me that just reads as, well, you didn't even bother to look, like you don't even consider anything outside of WWE then, because I've done some of my best work since I've left WWE. But if you're looking for something negative to say or whatever, you're going to find it. So that's how I view that. If people are willing to look, if you're willing to take 8 seconds and type the 12 letters or whatever it takes to find one of my 20 free matches on YouTube or whatever paid service you want to find it on, you'll find a lot of great content on there. I've been doing some of the best work of my career since I left WWE. So I'm very happy. I've had some tremendous opponents. I've had some tremendous there's a free match online right now, me and Chris Bay. That's just an awesome match from the West Coast of the United States. I hope he's improving and doing better. There's just a huge list, and I've done all of this in like 7 months. I've wrestled more in 7 months than I probably did in like 3 years in WWE. So yeah, it's going really well. Thank you for bringing up some of the content that's happened. A lot of it's for free online. Just go check it out. It's awesome stuff.
Yeah, I'd agree. You've been absolutely smashing it, man, and you have been extremely busy. Now, in terms of busy, this has been a busy chat. We need to start wrapping things up. There's the warnings come in because someone's a chatty Cathy, which is good.
Yes.
But I guess a last question before we quickly come back to your next UK trip. Obviously, you with MLW at the moment, doing lots of indies, smashing it all over the place. Then there's lots of familiar faces and familiar foes in WWE, in TNA, and AEW. I mean, just with AEW in particular, with that so many Ring of Honor and NXT Black and Gold kind of guys there, is that something that might be a possibility for you in the future, that you'd like to go over there and do a bit of damage?
Everything's a possibility. I'm not going to lobby hard for anything or say that nothing's a possibility. Everything is open. I want to go to a place where they want to have me. That's it. I learned the hard way that through my time in WWE, that if they don't see you the way that you see yourself, that you need to find a place that does see you the way that you see yourself. And that's okay. I'm not angry about that. I don't hold that against anyone, right? That everyone has their view, right? If some indie company looks at me and says, oh, that's not the guy for us, then I don't want to work for that indie company. And that's okay, right? Not everybody has to love me, right? But I view myself in a very particular light. And there are other companies that I work with. MLW is a very good one that also views me in a similar light. Those are the companies that I want to collaborate with. So if AEW opens that door, I've made it very clear to them, TNA, to WWE, I am completely open to working with you if you are interested in working with me in the same capacity that I would like to be worked with. That's it. That's how I view everything. That's what I want out of my career at this point. And I think that I can take a lot of these I can take all of these companies to the next level. So that's my goal. My goal is to take whatever company wants to utilize my skill set and take them to the next level.
Yeah, brilliant. I mean, there's so much we've not talked. We need to get you back on. There's so much to talk about. I mean, Retribution was glossed over. I wanted to get your thoughts on Femi, Bron Breakker, those guys. Obviously, talk about your MLW run. I should probably throw in as well. You got Destiny Wrestling coming up this Sunday, the 15th, as we're recording this, against Old Hammer, Alex Hammerstone, which sounds like a big meaty men slapping meat kind of match for me. But also to bring it back. Yeah, that should be a banger, man. Bring it back. We've got Burning Heart Pro Wrestling, though, the tournament weekend, Liverpool and Manchester. Again, to reiterate, the weekend of March 8th, 9th. Tickets now available at Ticketline. So you can either go into Ticketline and search for Burning Heart Pro Wrestling, or just head over to burningheartprowrestling.com, and that will navigate you where you need to go. Dijak, how can people keep up with you on the socials? Plug it away, brother.
Everything is Dijak, FYE, pretty much everything you can find. I also have brand new socials across everything. It's all at Dijak Wrestling. Or you can check out my awesome new website, DijakWrestling.com. That's the number one. I don't care if you follow me and stuff, but if you go to DijakWrestling.com, you can check out all my stuff, because I want to teach people. I want people to have the opportunity to learn, even if you're just a fan, even if you just want to check out pro wrestling for the first time, or if you're a trainee, you need some accessory knowledge about pro wrestling. I love to talk. I love to talk about pro wrestling. I love to do it in a one-on-one setting where I get to break you down or not break you down, but break down with you about what's happening. Can't wait to work with all of you. DijakWrestling.com.
Absolutely brilliant. Well, from us here, thank you for so much for giving us some time and coming to chew the fat with us. This has been What Culture Wrestling. That's been Donovan Dijak. I've been Andrew Pollard, and we will all catch you soon.